Hey gorgeous, this is episode number 115 with the amazing Gert Olefs sharing his huge idea of World Peace 2035.
Hello, this is Gert Olefs. You are listening to Hard Sells, a podcast with Schlonski. Enjoy it.
I'm so excited to have Gert Olefs back on the show today. Please make sure you are sharing Hard Sells podcast. Share the message of World Peace 2035. You find all the information at christineschlonski.com/podcast. Connect with Gert, support his mission, because we all can make the world a better place with tiny things we do, and obviously also with the big ones. But it all starts with us. And today we're going to dive into the Star Trek within. Before we do that, a quick shout out to our wonderful listeners in Rochester, New York, in the United States, as well as in Paris, France. And let's dive into Gert, because he has lived in 3 different continents already in his life. He is the founder and CEO of World Peace 2035. He's an author, a public speaker, a highly experienced corporate and SME business professional, as well as a recruitment expert and a global citizen. World Peace 2035 is the only non-profit organization setting the daring and ambitious goal of reaching world peace with a due date 2035. After only 18 months of Facebook activity, World Peace 2035 already had more than 840,000 followers, and they are adding more and more each day, about 1,000 every single day. And they are about to reach the 1 million mark this summer 2019. It's probably about the same time this episode airs. So I'm so super excited to have the conversation with Gert and to really get inspired how we all can take action. And remember, it all starts within. Hurt people, and happy people make people happy. So if you already help your clients to be happier, to be more fulfilled, to be served in the very best way because hard sells, you're already on a very good path. So keep going. Let's dive in with Gert Olefs. Well, I am so excited to have you back on the show, Gert. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm so excited to talk to you more about your wonderful mission, as well as what, people can do to support their businesses in having or cultivating the lifestyle they really desire in combination with world peace.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think our lifestyle has to, and this is, I'm gentle when I say has to, it should be must. It's an absolute must that we make our life sustainable. And at the same time, I think that is a huge business opportunity. And I think every business, from the smallest to the largest, has to really convert into a fully sustainable business. And everybody talks about the circular economy, etc. But it will have to happen, because we all talk about growing, and growth is this magic concept, but we are only growing a non-sustainable system. And this, to me, is going to lead to a disaster, small or large. Climate change is just one element of that, but we have also resource scarcity, reducing biodiversity, etc., etc. So I'm thinking, I'm a recruiter and I'm a coach, and I'm thinking even, how can I reduce my ecological footprint? When I have a recruitment project, do I need to physically see the candidates in terms of meeting one face to face in the pre-selection phase? Do I let them come to my office by car? That's like for each project 10 people, 12 people. I go to my office by car. While we have a fantastic Zoom possibility, for instance. I think everybody needs to think hard about how can I do things differently and sustainably. And why is sustainability so important? Well, first of all, otherwise we're going to not have any resources left in X number of time. But it is also a barrier to the rest of the world, the part of the world that is not rich, to become rich also. Because we would need 5 planets. An average West European, if everybody of the world would live in the same way, we would need 5 times Earth. This is not possible. So we need to make it sustainable so that everybody can climb up to that same level, because then it has become sustainable. So it's a very big challenge. I consider it probably the biggest, but it's a very essential challenge. And if you have children in the world, I have 4 children, I have a responsibility to them, not just to take care of them personally, but to create a world in which they can flourish. And that world is peaceful, or has to be peaceful, and it has to be sustainable. So we all have a contribution to make, and I think there is a lot of potential for creative people, for people who really make that a priority to consider, how can I do things differently?
Yeah. Well, most business owners or entrepreneurs or people who become entrepreneurs, they do it because they want to do something they love. Yes. And then they set off on that journey following their passion. And unfortunately, a lot of them do suffer from not knowing how to make sales in a way that feels aligned, that feels authentic, that feels true to their values. So they they don't make the revenue they desire to make, or they need to make this business work. And they might end up frustrated or burned out, even though they come from this place of giving the gift, supporting the world with their mission. And since you are on this huge mission, and you are, had the conversation with the man in the mirror, and you've been on that path for over 2 decades now.
Oh, on that path, okay. The organization is only 2 years, huh? Not even 1.5 years.
Your personal development path, right?
Yeah, that's I started that more than 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what could you give people? So let's say somebody is struggling in their business, and there's the saying I really love that I've heard years ago. It says, "Hurt people hurt people."
Yes.
And I added,
that's a good one, yeah.
And happy people make people happy.
Right.
So what could you tell an entrepreneur who is struggling right now, who loves what they do, but it feels also heavy and difficult? How can they kind of turn their business around in, winning clients, serving clients, and also making the money they desire to have the lifestyle they dream of, with, having in mind they can contribute so much more when they have more financial resources?
I think as within, so without. So what you have inside will reflect itself on the outside. And I think key to having this healthy foundation is this inner journey, is what I call in my speeches the Star Trek within. It's to know who you are. It's to know the why, not the why of your business, but the why of your existence. As I say, why are you here? What is your mission? And that, because I can speak from experience, this goes very deep, and it connects you with some place, I would say even outside of yourself. It comes from somewhere really, really, really profound. And when you can tap into that connectedness, you have almost a limitless source of energy, motivation, persistence, also very important, tremendous self-confidence. I can really say I was already a confident person, but my today versus 2-3 years ago is already a big step in advance, because I tap from this connectedness. And that is for me a very important one. It's this Star Trek within this. It is a journey. It's not an easy journey. It's not a 1, 2, 3 solution. 1, 2, 3 solutions don't exist. Huh? But it is to really ask yourself tough questions. I would strongly recommend to be coached by a good coach. You know that I'm coached. My book was, I had a book coach. The last 4 months I was coached by a very nice lady with whom I'm now going to work within World Peace 2035. So somebody who helps you to ask the difficult question, to find the answers to those difficult questions, but does that from a relationship of confidence and also confidentiality, so that you can then change yourself inside, so that the outside can also change. It's what you say, hurt people hurt people. If you feel frustrated, if you are like like tense and irritated and frustrated and blah, 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 you will reflect that. I know that when I started my business in recruitment, I just started with a table in my living room at the time, 15 years ago, and I started cold calling people. And I know that my success rate of getting an appointment, etc., was best when I was really calm, when I felt in a certain way, and my voice was also different for them, and I could hear the reactions were different on the other side. And so I learned this, and this was just by also observing. So it is. I think the key is within yourself. And then, of course, when you are in a business, you have to also ask yourself, is what I provide from a service perspective or a product perspective, is there a need for it? Does that bring solutions to the problems of other people? Because that's what selling is. If you know, you need to provide a solution, whatever it is, to a need, and identifying those needs very properly, doing the business, you know, the SWOT analysis which is also asking the hard questions also. What are the needs? Who are my competitors? What are they doing? What are the opportunities? What are the threats? So a lot of reflection is necessary, I find. And then when I started with recruitment, it was because that was the part that I liked the most from my corporate career. When I had to build my own teams in Asia, etc., I felt this is for me. This is where I like this. I am good at it, and I bring a number of strengths to the table. I think it also has to do with weakness. When I coach people, I say I'm not only working on strengths. I'm especially working in the first phase on making sure that the weak link in the chain becomes strong, because you can only strengthen the chain by strengthening the weakest link. And I think that might be also an answer to your listeners that are stuck. What is this weak link? Maybe you have somebody who gets discouraged very fast. He makes 2 phone calls, and he hears a no every time, and then the motivation starts going down. No, you need to be able to hear 100 times no. You know, and you need to understand it's a numbers. No, but that's the truth. Maybe when I came back from Asia, and that was 16 years ago, I got through a divorce. I had 4 small children. I had to start from scratch. I had 60 euros left in the bank account. So no kidding. This was true. And of course, that in itself provides fire and all that. But I took something on that was we call it. To do market surveys, but knock on doors of everywhere in the country and ask people about products, but also about for the European Union and all that. And I came in so many fantastic individual homes. But the key point is I knocked on doors maybe 10 times, and maybe 1 out of 10 people said yes. But once you know there is going to be a yes 1 out of 10 times, the only thing you have to do is knock on doors 10 times. You know, but a lot of people stop at the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th time, and they don't come to 10. And you never know how close you were to success because you gave up.
Yeah, I love that. And you know, you're so about action taking. So you made a deadline on the mission to world peace. And I'm always saying, stop just dreaming, act now. Because if you don't put it into action, nothing is going to happen.
Yes, absolutely. You can. I say a dream without an action deadline is a fantasy. Yeah? So no, you have to act, and this is why. You know, when I wrote my book, I already knew that my book was just the beginning. I needed to take action, and action was in the form of starting this nonprofit, and then we have the Facebook page, the website, and all that, and starting to build a network. This is. The beginning is never really easy, I think. You have people who step out of a corporate life and go into a business and continue what they did in a corporate life, and they sometimes can just transition and start hit the ground running. It happens. But most of the businesses have a difficult start. It's not easy. You have an exponential curve. It has a long beginning tail that goes up slowly, and then at some point it takes off. So you have to persist to get to that point of taking off, and constantly wonder about what value do I bring, what is my unique value. also for world peace, my advisory board when we met in LA, they corrected me. I was trying, first of all, to build a team and thought about this action and that action, and I have some very good people in the advisory board, and they said, Gert, what is the unique value proposition that you have with World Peace 2035? What makes you unique? And I said, peace with a due date. He said, yes, that's one of them, but that's not enough. You're not going to get it off the ground if you keep focusing and think that you have everything covered by just that. And then I go to the subtitle of my book. I have it here. It's like, World Peace 2035. Let's achieve it together. And I said, the uniqueness that I see is that we bring people together, people and organizations. You cannot believe how many people are working on peace. Or on other good causes. But many of them do it in a silo environment, just themselves. No, we need to bring all of that together. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to start creating a World Peace Alliance. So don't reinvent the wheel. And use the existing wheels, but bring them together. We are going to be a facilitator, coordinator, etc. But that's through the hard questioning of my advisory board members. It was not so pleasant, but it was so useful. And since that date, honestly, doors started to open and everything had started to flow because it was the right thing. What I did until that day before, I spent a lot of time and energy also on people, and man, it didn't work, and I didn't understand why. So that's maybe a message to your listeners also. Sometimes you knock on a door and you try to open that door by all means possible, and it doesn't work. But maybe it's not the right door.
Yeah.
So, and you get
advice. Because when we get stuck, it's really like the question: is it the right door?
Right.
Does it feel aligned? And as you mentioned in the first episode, having a coach or mentor can be so essential because they see the potential in you, and they also can ask questions that you might not even have thought of.
Right. And advice, I would say, I'm a keen learner. I'm hungry for knowledge and new knowledge, and I keep reading and listening and etc. So put yourself in environments where you can learn. Take some risks. Don't be too skeptical. Don't let the little voices in your head say, you're not going to learn anything. They're going to sell something to, or try to sell something to you, or whatever. No, go with an open mind, because you don't know what opportunities are hiding behind all those barriers that you construct. And that's something that I had to learn also. For instance, where we met in LA, there I met, the second time I met him, but he's an organizer of speakers bureau in the biggest one, and that's maybe why you thought I was from Holland, because he was from Holland. And he brought me in the beginning of December in contact with a lady who's now going to become my partner in one of the World Peace activities that we're going to do. And she brought me in contact with this Nobel Peace Prize winner. So if I would not have gone to that event, I would never have met those people. And I would be in another place. So it is not only knocking on the right door, but put yourself in environments where you can meet other people. Everybody has a story. Everybody is potentially a person who can help you with something they say, with something they do, with somebody they know. And we live in phenomenal times. Look at World Peace, almost 1 million followers. But just to give you a few more statistics, we have now reached a weekly reach with our posts. We post two posts daily, and we reach now 220,000 people a week. That's, almost 1 million a month. So our peace message has already gone out, has been seen by 15 to 20 million people since we started. So we live in extraordinary times in this perspective. 10 years ago it would have been impossible.
Yeah.
And so go out there and learn, be hungry for knowledge, because you never know. Also, my recruitment business was a little bit because I bumped into a person in some space or some event or so where we got to talk and say, etc. So you never ever know. I was a lousy networker, but because world peace is so much my passion and my mission, now I've become a great networker. And I'm probably I'm not a salesperson, but I think I can convince people.
I don't think you need to convince people. I think you need to invite people to listen to an idea. Convincing sounds a little bit difficult and tough, because they feel it inside. And, I would just give like a wild guess that nobody feels like peace is not necessary. But, inviting them to think of that idea, that world peace, because I personally believe we are all one. We're all just, energy. And like how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're fighting at home each and every day, if you're an unhappy person, that like it mirrors back to everywhere you go. You make those bad experiences.
As we did, so we don't.
Yeah. But when we say yes to ourselves, see what will evolve.
But I think when you say we are energy, of course you are already in a certain place when you say that and when you feel that. And that's, of course, I would say ultimate connection, because energy is continuous. There's no borders. When you live from that perspective, which is part of my journey, I'm a Westerner, but I lived for almost 15 years in Asia. I've also lived in the Middle East. So I've lived in different cultures, different places. And of course you change. And you become from a linear person, you become a circular person with no beginning and no end. So the continuum, your energy, you're connected. And that changes everything, because then, the other is you. And you are the other. And I think for salespeople or commercial people is how you stand in life. Don't look at competition as your enemy or look at the client as a must. They don't must anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I personally don't really believe in competition, because each and every one of us is, even though we are all one, we are all unique in the experiences.
Right.
What we've learned and how we show up and how we talk and act. So even though somebody might do the same thing or name the thing like you name it, it's still a different experience. So when I was still in sales and corporate, I always told my team, somebody might buy from you, and when I call them, they will run away, or vice versa. You don't know.
Yeah,
you don't know what experiences they have and what connects and what doesn't. And so just be open to it. And I think showing up in your full potential, and we probably never know if we reach it or not, but striving for being the best person that you can is just going to make a huge difference.
Well, this is a key sentence you just said, Christine. It's also part of my short trajectory on world peace now. Is people ask me what can we do, etc. And now I can say the biggest contribution you can make is to become the best version of yourself, in alignment with why you are here, with your purpose, your mission, etc. And this is the biggest contribution you can make, which means everybody can make that contribution.
It's possible for that's very good point. It's possible for everybody.
It's possible for everybody.
It's a decision.
It's the decision, the courage, the motivation, etc. And one person can do it, the other person cannot. But I think if you are willing to ask those hard questions, if you're willing to open up to a person who can help you, whether it's a coach or any person who can accompany you on that journey, you will need different people in different phases. If I look back, I also took classes. I've been, for instance, to a retreat with Eckhart Tolle. I don't know if you know him.
Of course.
Yeah, well, voilà. So, but this was in 2000, okay? Yeah. So he was not known yet, and he came to Hong Kong. I was living in Hong Kong at the time, and I spent 2 days with him in a small group. We were maybe 30 people maximum. If you want to follow a retreat now, you are with thousands of people. So, these kind of people, teachers, they can learn. You can learn so much, and it builds over time. It builds over time.
Yeah, beautiful. Just one last question. I would be really interested, because I always ask my guests, what's the first thing you ever sold in your life?
Oh, my God. That's a tough one, Christine, because I have to go back a long time in my case.
Maybe give you some hints, like some people sold baseball cards or cookies, or they painted.
Okay.
Neighbors. Like, what's the first thing that you sold that you got money for?
Well, I think the first, that's a good point. Now, it goes back to what I said in the earlier session, or part of the session. We have the three kings. We have 6th of January. We call it in Belgium the three kings, the three saints. I don't know how you say that in English. Those people that saw the star of Bethlehem and they went to see Jesus. And then you go around, you ring the bells, and then you sing a song. Drie koningen, drie koningen. But a class, I was 11, something like that, and a classmate, we wanted to have some pocket money and all that, and we said, okay, we're going to be brave, and so we dressed up as two kings, basically, and we went around the neighborhood where we lived in Brussels, and we came home, and I think after half a day going around, we each had the equivalent of €2.50. But we sang at the doors. We went into pubs, cafes, and we sang Drie Koningen, and then people gave us a little, centime here and there. But this was my first sales experience that I can think of. Yes.
Oh, cool.
The purest sales experience, yeah.
Yeah. And how did you feel when you brought home that money?
Well, we were quite happy. We were happy that we did it. It did. I mean, we were shy boys, also, 11 years old. But I think the desire to make some pocket money was strong and stronger than the fear. So we were quite pleased with ourselves, I think. It's a long time ago. But that I remember was probably the first time. So you see, that's what you can do here is rooted in the past, in your year, let's say 6 to 20. I think every salesperson, every person that you talk to in the audience should ask some very deep questions about what was it that kept you going at that time.
Yeah. Well, I think it all comes down to passion, and at the end of the day, love for something you do. So I always say sales is love, because you serve. If you have wonderful products and services, you're just spreading your love.
Well, serve is a very important word. I think that's what we miss a lot in the world, is serving is always much bigger than yourself, because you serve others. And this is a dimension many of us have lost, and the world has lost. And the great joy and the great fulfillment, and I think also the great success lies in that. It's when you serve others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a phenomenal end of this wonderful episode. Thank you so much for being here, for spending time with us, for the inspiration, and really for giving us the idea that we can all make a difference.
We can.
And it starts within. So
right.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful
Christine.
day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Well, I loved the conversation with Gert Olefs, and I love his big, ambitious goal that he is selling to the world by World Peace 2035. What a beautiful mission and vision to have, and it's supporting every single one of us. So I hope you are inspired and you are motivated to have the conversation with the woman or the man in the mirror and really find your Star Trek within. Hop on over to christineschlonski.com, find the podcast tab for the resources, the show notes, the transcripts, and also for the social media handles to Gert Olefs, so you can connect, you can follow his journey, you can cheer him on, and you can just be part of it. Thank you so much for listening, for supporting this daring and ambitious goal of World Peace 2035. And it all starts within. So just start with you feeling more amazing, feeling happier, because happy people make people happy. Have a wonderful day wherever you are in this beautiful world, and I'm saying bye for now.